from the break. If you are just joining us, you're watching Life and Style right here on KTN Home, and it is the virtual edition. Now, as part of the show, we have the conversations segment. That is what is here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking to another amazing life coach. He goes by the name of Sam. Let's go and meet him and hear what he has to say. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the conversation segment. Today's guest is Sam Vidambu. And you guys, I am so excited for you guys to hear all the wisdom he has to share today because Sam has an amazing resume. Sam is a founder and CEO of his company Ambigen Limited. He's also a high performance coach and he helps people find financial freedom. So there's something called financial freedom training that he does. Obviously, he's an award winner through all the incredible work that he does and a very highly sought after conference and keynote speaker. Hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
How have you been doing during all this COVID-19? Have you been at home? Have you been working outside? What has your experience been like?
I've been at home and I've also been working. Right now there's no, we have this thing of social distance. You cannot have our training. So everything is done online. We have more of these Zoom meetings and everything is done via WhatsApp groups. Our trainings are in WhatsApp and all that. So we've really been affected, but I thank God.
It's good to hear. I'm glad. And at least you're still working. So am I. So yay. Now, there is an interview you did at Radio Maisha, and you gave your story growing up. And I was listening to it, and I was just like, wow, such an impressive story growing up. Your entire experience in high school and getting into university despite the difficulties that you faced in your education. And there's one thing you said during the interview. You said your biggest inspiration or your biggest motivator is you hate poverty. You want to stay far away from poverty. You don't want anything to do with poverty. And I thought that was quite outstanding. So what I want to know is, to you, what does it mean to be outstanding? When you think of that word outstanding, what does that mean?
First of all, you can't be outstanding if you're not standing out.
Oh.
For you to be outstanding, you must stand out. And how do you stand out, as a human being, at a personal level? How do you stand out? By being different. In Kenya right now, we're talking about COVID-19 as a pandemic. But in Kenya, we have another pandemic. Not only Corona is the only pandemic in Kenya right now. Another pandemic is called being average. Most of Kenyans are comfortable with being average.
Being average.
Being average, yeah. You can't be outstanding by being average. Most of them are like, oh, I'm in the middle class, I'm okay, I'm doing. There's nothing like that, So for me, being outstanding for me means that I am at the 1%. I'm a 1%er. There's something called 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Being at 1% top of whatever field you're in right now. For example, you right now, you're in the media and all that. You're being at the 1% level of the media, So for me, I think that being outstanding is being different from others.
Yeah. I like that. That's awesome. Being outstanding. You can't be outstanding unless you stand out. And that's very direct.
Yeah.
So you're the founder and CEO of Abidjan Limited. And you describe yourself as a social entrepreneur. For any of our viewers who are watching who don't know what that means, how would you define being a social entrepreneur?
A social entrepreneur is somebody who owns a business, but the main reason for that business is to solve social problems.
Mm-hmm.
The word entrepreneur comes from the word opportunities, because every problem comes from opportunities.
Yeah.
So a social entrepreneur's work is to solve social problems. Very simple.
I like that. So what exactly do you guys do at Ambigen Limited?
At Ambigen Limited, we do sales trainings, and we also support startups, young people who have just finished campus, and they can't find employment. We help them identify opportunities and scale them up and start their own ventures. And we also do human resource services at Ambigen Limited. So there are several things that we do at Ambigen Limited.
Nice. So you are a speaker, you are a high performance coach, you mentor people, but you're also a CEO. However, you have spoken before in the past and said that when you were in school, your dream was to be a doctor. Now, I want to know, how did you end up from that dream to not ending up being a coach?
Now, I was just saying I wanted to be a doctor because everybody else was saying they want to be doctors, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
As a young person, you don't have big dreams, whatever everybody is saying. So a teacher comes in class,
Hmm.
teacher asks, hey, what do you want to be? A doctor, an engineer, a nurse, a this. So I was like, oh, index one has said he wants to be a doctor. So I also want to be a doctor like index one. So that was what it was. And now the thing about coaching came in when I was in campus,
Okay.
And now that you heard my story at Radio Maisha, when I was in campus, I paid my own school fees because my parents could not afford to pay school fees.
Yes.
My father was a carpenter. Whenever he didn't get work, he used sometimes to go and work to make, charcoal sometimes to go and make bricks. I don't know if you know bricks, matofali in Kiswahili.
Yeah, yes. And as a Joa.
Yeah, so that was the work, and he could not afford to pay my school fees in campus. So what happened? I used to go and work in a mjengo during the day, and at night sometimes I used to go and work in a car wash. That's how I paid my school fees. But now after finishing campus, I was like, I have a story to tell. You know, I
You
have
know,
a story to tell people, and they will be
yes.
inspired by my story. And now this story of mine that I have, if I go and share it to high schoolers, I go and share to other campus students who are going through what I went through when I was in campus, it
Yeah.
will be a good thing. So that's how I ended up being a coach.
I like that. I think it comes from sharing, like the way you came out of university and you realize, I think my story is a good story to tell. You obviously have met people through university and maybe they hear about what you come from and what you've managed to do and educate yourself. And you're like, oh, Kumbe, this is impressive and more people should hear about it. And I'm so,
Yeah,
me myself, I'm so impressed. I
yeah.
can't believe you are doing Django and car wash and still a university student. That is just amazing. And I think it just shows people if you really, really, really want something, then anything is possible. And that's very admirable. Now, we are talking about the youth and we're talking about being outstanding personally and in your professional life as well. Now, you're a CEO, so obviously you have a team at Ambigen and all of you work together. And you have also worked for other people. So, what I want to know is do you think that outstandingness in your professional life goes together with outstandingness in your personal life? Ama lazima separate? Is somebody able to be outstanding in both fields at the same time?
They all go hand in hand. If you're outstanding at a personal level, you'll also be outstanding at the professional level.
Mhm.
There's something called personal development. And when it comes down to personal development, if you can develop yourself very well, you'll also develop yourself at the professional level. If you look at these guys, the top CEOs in the Fortune 500 companies in the US, most of these guys, they read a lot of books. They
Yeah.
go outside and develop themselves personally. And that's how they end up being top CEOs. So if you're not good at a personal level, you can't be good at the professional level. That's how it always goes. So outstandingness begins at a personal level, then it goes at the professional level. It always begins in, then out.
I like that. You're actually not the first coach to say that here on this show, but I think sometimes people don't realize that maybe doing the work inside might even be harder than the work that you're waiting for outside. Working on yourself and figuring out what
Yeah.
you need to improve on as an individual can be quite hard. So I have been on your blog and your articles are amazing. I really like the way you write so honestly and frankly. You just tell people, enough is enough. No excuses. So for everybody watching, please do make sure you go check out his blog.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
tell you where you can find it towards the end. But you wrote a piece, and we actually talked about it. You wrote a piece on teachers, and you didn't write a piece on teachers and children and e-learning. You wrote a piece on teachers and how this is the time for them to earn additional income. And you were guiding them on exactly how they can do that. Um, But you quoted specifically that here in Kenya, there's a lot of young people with they say they want to be in business, they say they want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't even have the business idea, or they don't have never bothered to
Yeah,
write the business
yeah.
plan. And I wanted to know, do you interact with a lot of these young people when you're coaching them? And what is usually the first person you tell? What's usually the first thing you tell such a person?
It's crazy. Somebody has been in the university for the last 4 years doing a business course like BCom or
Right.
BBA or
Mhm.
BBIT or BPSM. Like for me, I did BCom. Somebody has been in the university for the last 4 years or even 5, and they don't know what a business plan is. It's very unfortunate. They don't even know the process of starting a company or registering a company. They don't know, and they have been doing a business course in the university. Now,
Right.
first thing I always tell these young people is to look for the problems in the society. You can't start a business. You can only solve a problem. Real
Mhm.
entrepreneurs look for the problems in the society, then they go out and solve them. And if they cannot see a problem in the society, they go out and create it. And this is the right time for them to do this. During this pandemic, most of these young people right now are just at home, complaining, doing nothing. Oh, President, I'm only 30 days and all that. Instead of looking at it as an opportunity.
You touched on young people right now who are complaining, and woe is us, we are worried, we can't leave the house, oh corona, what. And you're like, that's not the place for young people to be right now. But there's young people who maybe finished university in 2019, had all these goals for 2020, they were tarmacking, or maybe they were starting their business, and now they feel like COVID-19 cut them, right at their knees. And they feel like they don't have a goal anymore. They feel like they're not going to be able to accomplish the things they wanted to accomplish this year. What would you say to such a young person?
In 2013,
Mm-hmm.
we had the Westgate shopping mall attack.
Yes.
And we had very many young people, very many young people between the age of 20 and 30 who have been business enterprises inside the Westgate shopping mall.
Yeah.
And now, when we had the attack, the terrorist attack at Westgate, most of these young people went back home and said, I will never do this thing again. I don't have hope. I will never do this again. I will never do a business again. And we had those ones who said, okay, thank you, God. It has happened at Westgate. So I will leave Westgate. I'll go to another shopping mall to open up another company. Another shop at another place. Maybe I'll go to Next Gen Mall. I'll go to another mall. So I will say this. As a young person, you finished university last year or last year but one. You've not yet been employed. If you are not going to take this coronavirus right now, this period at home, and it's a period for you to think about yourself. What are you going to do? If you don't take this period right now, a lot of free time for you to develop yourself and to know the problems that are in the economy and how you can solve them, the effects of coronavirus pandemic will haunt you in the next 7 years. 7 years. That's the reality. That's how it is. First pandemic we've been having in this world. We had the 1929, the Great Depression, 1929.
Yes.
We 2008, we had another one, the market crash.
Yes.
Yeah, they have been there. There have been very many pandemics. But if you don't take a pandemic to your advantage, it will take you down. So to a young person, there is hope. There is hope. If you lose hope, you're nothing. So don't lose hope. This time, stay at home. Like for me right now, I'm working on a book. On 6th, when I heard the president saying that we are adding another 30 days for this, I was like, oh, thank God.
More time.
I have a lot of free time. Let me work on my book. So I took that, not really. I didn't complain.
Mm-hmm.
I took it to my advantage. Let me work on my second book. And after finishing my second book, I'm working on my third book. So I'm okay. I can't complain.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's about looking at the positive side of things. I think sometimes people like
Yeah.
saying, oh, look at the brighter side, look at the positive side. But when you're
Mm,
actually in
mm,
a tough situation, you can forget. You don't actually
mm,
know what it means to look at the positive side. Very
mm.
excited to hear about your book. I can't wait for you to finish it. So now even me, I'm happy that the extra 30 days were added because Sam now has more time for his book. That's great to hear. Now, on the other side, let's not maybe blacklist all young people. Not all young people are complaining, not all young people are not working. There's
Mm,
young people
mm.
that are out here doing the most and doing such incredible work, either in their careers or in business or in activism or in social work. Um, and now, when it comes to those young people, there are situations they face now in the working place, something like ageism. I don't know if you've ever experienced this because I know it happens to men sometimes more than it does happen to women, where you go into a working environment and everyone who is older than you just assumes you can't do it, or your ideas are not good, or you can't be a decision maker just because you're younger. But sometimes younger people are just as qualified. So, what I want you to talk to us about is, one, have you ever experienced ageism and how did you deal with it? And two, what advice do you have for anyone who is feeling like they're young, they have vigor, they have energy, but nobody wants to listen to their ideas?
Mark Zuckerberg found Facebook when he was 19 years old. Bill Gates found Microsoft when he was 20 years old. Steve Jobs found Apple when he was 21 years old. Larry Page found Google when he was 24 years old. Kevin Systrom found Twitter when he was 27 years old. Jesus Christ himself, I'm a Christian, he found his ministry when he was 27 years old.
True.
Jeff Bezos found Amazon when he was 30 years old.
True.
These guys are young. All these guys were young when they started their ventures, For me, I have experienced ageism a lot in my time. A lot. Because I'm young. I'm not an old guy. I'm a very young person,
I was giving
And some of my
you an
trainings happen.
opportunity to tell them how young you are. I was trying to help you.
Okay, I'm not yet 30. And when I do some of my trainings to teachers, I do a lot of trainings to teachers, to principals, and most of these principals are 30, are 50, are 45, are 55, are even 59. Most of these guys are old. But I go and train them about entrepreneurship, about financial freedom. Some of them are like, you're so young, what can you tell us? So I have experienced it. Even in the workplace, I was once employed. Even in the workplace, guys are like, oh, millennials are doing this. Millennials can't come to work on time. All they want is to use Wi-Fi, download this and that. They're only in WhatsApp. They're only in Facebook. They can't work. But it's not true.
That's not true.
Millennials are really hard workers. They work so much. They're the best. If you go to most of the Fortune 500 companies, most of the guys who are employed there are millennials. So millennials are the best workers, and even for me, the guys that I'm working with, most of them are young. They have that zeal for work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you for fighting for us millennials and showing people that we actually are very hardworking. Well, thank you so much, Sam. Before you go and share with us your social media and your amazing blog where people can read all of this wisdom that you've shared with us here today, I would like for you to give a last word to all the youth that are watching us on being outstanding and not giving up despite what we are going through during this tough season.
What I will tell the youth is just start. Start from where you are. Start with the pain. Start with the suffering. Start with no connections. Start with no rich uncle. Start with no money. Start from where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Just start. It all begins, like for me to be where I am today, I started. You can't do anything. You can't prosper. You can't progress without starting. So just start. If you don't start, you'll remain stagnated and you'll never grow. You'll be a financial slave. You'll be always in a financial financial fix. You have no money. You're depending on your parent. And I understand what you're going through. I understand everything about you. I understand you have your first class. I understand you have your second upper. You have not been employed for the last 10 years. I understand. But now, even if I understand, what will you do? Because it's all up to you, not up to me. It's up to you to say that, no, enough is enough. I need to grow. This time, this coronavirus should help me grow, because all the pandemics in history have always produced leaders. And I can even give examples. Look in the Bible. Jesus Christ, he came to this world for us as a result of a pandemic. The pandemic that was there was sin. Sin was a pandemic to God. And God was like, no, this pandemic of sin, somebody should come and die for them. That's how Jesus Christ came in this world to die for us, as a result of sin. Look at David. He came as a result of a pandemic. Goliath was the pandemic. We need somebody to come and beat this guy down. Yeah. David knew this is my time. So even you youth right now at home, you're sitting at home. Take this thing, Corona, this period. Identify yourself. No, I can do this. I can do this. Yes, I'm employed, but I've been laid off. I'm a BOM teacher. I'm a private teacher. I've been laid off. What do? I need to do something different. So just change your mindset. Change your mindset. Take this coronavirus to your advantage. Don't let it take you down, because if you do that, you'll always be in a fix. So that's what I would like to tell them. Start from where you are. Use what you have and do what you can. My Facebook page is Sam Vidambu. I am also on YouTube, Sam Vidambu, and Twitter, Samson Vidambu. Yeah, those are my social media handles. My website is www.samvidambu.com. There are my blogs there. Everything is there. What I do is there, and all that. Yeah, and you had asked me about my award. I didn't talk about it.
Yes, you got an award last year. You have more than one award, but there was a particular award you got in 2019, and I wanted you to talk about it.
Yeah. Last year I won. Actually, it's 1 year now, because it was in June last year.
Right.
I won an award called the 254 Youth Entrepreneurship Award in the category of social entrepreneurship. I won the award as a result of my work in helping young people, identifying opportunities, and starting their own businesses through my company called Ageism Limited. Last year also, I was listed among the top 100 most influential young Kenyans. And I really appreciate it. It was not an easy thing for me. I really thank God for that.
That's amazing.
And I am looking forward for more awards. Yeah.
Yes. That also means for all viewers who are watching, you heard me say he's a high performance coach. You heard me say he teaches about financial freedom. You heard me say he's one of the most sought after keynote speakers. See, he has the awards also to prove it is true. You have not just heard it here on KTN for this season. Thank you, Sam. I've had such an amazing conversation with you. I really appreciate you making time for the interview. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, that was Sam Vidambu, and he is many, 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 many things. But what I think he actually is an inspiration in the way he walks his own life. And I want to reiterate one of the things that Sam has shared with us today for Surya's Cut, and that is start today, man. Just start today. He said, start if you have no connection, start if you have no rich uncle, start if you don't think you will make it to the end, start nonetheless. Use what you have and do what you can. Just start. This is Conversations KTN Life and Style Virtual Edition. We'll keep going. Right after this is the artist segment, and we also have really fun TikTok videos. I have been your host, Susan Jaroke. You can find me at my social media on Instagram at Sura_Common, on Twitter, Esteroge_, and on Facebook, my page is Sura Common. See you.